let's look at our two last problems. Now E, if we look at that one, is, let's see, negative 3x times x plus 2 equals negative 4. Again, this is another good example of something that was factored before it equals 0. So we have to start by undoing that. So we'll start by multiplying out the negative 3x to everything inside. And what that will get us is a negative 3x squared minus 6x. The other side is still equal to a negative 4. So what can we do to solve this? Well, first it needs to equal 0, so I can add 4 to both sides so that the right-hand side will be a 0 now. And on the left-hand side, now I have a negative 3x squared minus 6x plus 4. So that means my A is a negative 3. My B is a negative 6. And my C is, let's see, a positive 4. And I can do my quadratic formula. So let's take a look. We'll have x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So let's see what happens. First of all, if we plug in our negative b, our b is already negative. We have a negative b, so if we plug in a negative b, it's actually going to turn the negative into a positive 6 plus or minus the square root of, well, the next part is doing b squared, which means a negative 6 squared, which is positive 36, minus your 4 times your a is next. Well, we said that a was 3, so times 3. And then times c, which is, according to this one, we said that c was 4. All over 2 times, what did we say a was? We said that a was, let's see, negative 3. And oops, I just caught something. I should have had this 3 up here as a negative 3. So when I plug in my a, I'll make sure it's also a negative 3. So let's see what happens. Okay, so we have that negative 6 turned into a positive 6 on top, plus or minus the square root of 36. And on the bottom, we do have a 2 times negative 3, which we can go ahead and say is negative 6. But we do need to simplify all that multiplication inside of our root. The 4 times the 3 times 4. Well, the 4 times 3 times 4 would actually give us the number 48. The question is that 48 positive or negative? Well, we had a negative in front of the 4ac, and we had a negative from the a. Well, a negative times a negative would give us a positive. So that gives us 6 plus or minus on top, and we've got a negative 6 on the bottom. The question is, what's inside of that square root? Well, we just need to go ahead and combine our like terms, add the 36 and the 48. So what is 36 and 48 added together? It is 84. Now, our last question here is, can we reduce the 84? By writing it as something we can take the square root of, and yes, we can rewrite it as 4 times 21. So let's see how that helps us. We still have the 6 on top and the negative 6 on the bottom. But we can take the square root of 4 from that part of the 84. That will come out as a 2. But you can't take the square root of 21, so that's going to stay inside of the square root. Now, just like all of our other problems, we've got a 6, a 2, and a negative 6. Those are all divisible by 2. So let's reduce everything by a factor of 2. that will get me, let's see, a 3 plus or minus 1 square roots of 21. Well, 1 square roots of 21 all over, again, 2 goes into negative 6 as negative 3. So let's see what this means. It means I can re-hide that 1 that's out in front of the square root of 21, and this will turn into 3 plus or minus the square root of 21 over negative 3. Now, let's go ahead and work this out a little bit. So, the answers will look like the following. Again, let's look at the one with the plus first. It would become a 3 plus the square root of 21 over 3. And the one with the minus would become the 3 minus the square root of 21 over, and again, be careful, that 3 on the bottom was a negative 3. Now, generally, we do not like leaving a negative on the bottom of a fraction like this. So what we would do is we divide everything out by the negative. So what that would do is that would change the signs of everything on the top and the bottom. So what that would do would turn this into, let's see, a negative 3 on this first one minus the square root of 21, but now it would be a positive 3. So it just kind of, in a sense, moved all the negatives to the top. And on the second answer, it would make that first 3 a negative 3, but it'd make that negative square root of 21 a positive square root of 21, which is now over 3. If that doesn't really make sense to you, what you could do to get rid of the negative on the bottom is kind of view this another way, is just multiplying the top and multiplying the bottom by a negative 1. It's another way kind of to look at this. And when you do that, that will make your bottom positive, but it will, again, tack on the negative to the top now. So you get two answers, negative 3 minus the square root of 21 over 3 and negative 3 plus the square root of 21 over 3. Those are your two solutions. Both of them are, again, rational, and both of them are real numbers because we don't see i's and we are still stuck with square roots.